Last week, Democrats wrapped up their unconventional political convention without the traditional crowds and hoopla, but with sharp attacks on the record and character of the sitting president. Tomorrow, it's the Republicans' turn with some in-person events and a small group of GOP delegates heading to Charlotte, North Carolina to rally their support for the president, who promises to make a speech each evening. Still, new revelations and allegations continue to confront him and his record. Special correspondent Jeff Greenfield joins us from Santa Barbara, California. Jeff, before we get to the tapes, so to speak, your thoughts on the convention that just happened?
I was struck by the degree to which the Democrats were embracing the idea of diversity, who they showed, and how they showed them, unapologetically in the streets, organizing, protesting, activism. And I think that's a consequence of numbers. The Democratic Party is far more diverse than it was, say, when Bill Clinton became president. 40% of registered Democrats are non-white. And when you add to that the gender gap, which is a chasm, right now Trump leads men by 13 points, Biden leads women by 25. They were doubling down on saying, we need you, the core of our party, to get involved, and we're not going to make any apologies for it. We're not going to be hesitant about it. This is who we are.
At times, it felt a bit like a pledge drive because there were so many calls to sign up to become a donor. And then there was also an incredibly consistent message to just get people to vote. And we're still a couple of months away.
No, that's right. And it's kind of odd. Will they love me in November as they do in August? But here's what researchers have known for decades. The more you can ask a voter to think about how she will vote, mail, in person, what time, the more likely they are to vote. And there were painful memories of 4 years ago. Some Democrats said, well, Hillary's going to win. We can not show up. Maybe we'll vote third party. There was a clear fall off in the African-American vote in key cities that helped turn some of the states in the upper Midwest to Trump by a tiny margin. And when you add to that the fears of voter suppression, of skullduggery, of maybe the mail screwing up, they want that message out early and often.
So let's shift gears to what's coming up this week. In true unconventional form, the president is planning to address the nation every night of his convention.
First of all, they're going to try to make it look a little more like a real convention. There are a few hundred delegates down in Charlotte that will formally nominate. Trump will be speaking to audiences. And you're right, this is unprecedented. Presidents usually show up every night to just wave and say, hi, I'll see you Thursday night. But apparently the president means to talk every night in prime time. He appears to be convinced that the more he is on television, whether in the coronavirus so-called briefings or this, the better he will do. And we also know that speaking into a camera, like an Oval Office address, that is not Trump's best format, to be very kind about it. So we're going to hear from him and his family, or, well, not everybody in his family, but that's going to be what we're going to hear for the next 4 nights.
Based on the tapes that were made public through the Washington Post last night, I suspect the president's sister is not going to have a marquee role.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is that was the end of a week. Any one story of which would have, in other times, just blown the whole political spectrum apart. The Postmaster General is being called to Congress and saying, are you trying to mess with the mails for political reasons? The Senate Intelligence Committee, controlled by Republicans, says, not only was Russia trying to interfere, but a senior Trump campaign official was sharing poll data with a Russian intelligence official. Then the president's former senior strategist, Steve Bannon, is arrested by postal authorities, by the way, on a huge yacht. And then we have the tapes of the president's sister, the retired federal judge, who is basically saying he's a liar, he's unprincipled, and somebody else took his exam. And what you have to realize, we've seen this now for 5 years, it's the sheer quantity of all these allegations that somehow almost cancel each other out. And his supporters say, well, more fake news.
Yeah. And this is just August. What kinds of October surprises or closer to the election could we possibly see?
Well, there's one that we just learned yesterday. NASA says an asteroid is headed toward Earth, and there is a 0.4% chance, I'm not making this up, Harry, that it will strike the Earth the day before the election. And if I'm a betting man, I'm going to take those odds given what we've lived through so far.
Jeff, that sounds like a great reason to vote early.
Very good point, Harry.
Jeff Greenfield joining us from Santa Barbara, California. Thanks so much.
Okay.